Hello, welcome to this update for the stuffy weather. So the outlook for the U.S. is basically the same today. That marginal risk there in parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, southwestern New York, and Kentucky and Indiana. So there are some storms in the south today and on the west possible. So tornado threat less than 2%, wind threat 5% there parts of Ohio and Pennsylvania, and hail 5% as well. So let's see. Strong to locally severe storms possible this afternoon from Lake Erie across much of Ohio into southeastern Indiana and northern Kentucky. So be aware there. For today, tomorrow just general storms on the east and some on the west and some mountains there and on the southwest. And day 3, the same, some storms on the west and in the southeast and some in the Great Lakes there. So let's see. The fire outlook, some isolated dry thunderstorms possible today in parts of Oregon, California, and Nevada. And let's see, tomorrow an elevated parts of Nevada, southern Oregon, northeastern California, and that isolated dry thunderstorms possible in parts of the Cascades in the mountains there. So be aware. And let's see here. So this is the HER. It shows that the storms in the south, still a lot of heavy rain there. And then it shows those storms getting started this afternoon in Ohio, especially in Ohio. Might be some severe storms, northern Kentucky, into Pennsylvania, western New York, and those areas. But please be aware in Ohio there in some areas. So let's see. In terms of flooding, we still have a moderate risk of excessive rainfall in southern Louisiana, southeastern like Louisiana, so please be careful there. Stay safe from flash flooding. And we have this marginal from Texas to Florida and a slight from Louisiana to South Carolina. So be aware there. And this very small marginal in New Mexico. And for tomorrow, another slight in Florida and a marginal from Louisiana to North Carolina. For Sunday, shows another marginal in South Texas and in the southeast. For next Monday, another marginal in Texas. Next Tuesday, a slight array in Texas there. Next Tuesday, and a marginal, so be aware. Rainfall shows today, Friday, shows more in southern Louisiana, close to like 3 inches, possibly 4 inches in some areas, and more throughout the southeast, some rain there because of the storms in the north, and some isolated showers on the west. So be aware. For Saturday, shows more on the southeast, on the east there, and some on the west. Day 3 shows more on the west, especially in the southeast, and a few in the northeast, but only a few. And then we start shifting back to Texas again by early next week. This is Tuesday. Alright, it shows close to 2.5 inches in parts of Texas, possibly in Florida, some more in Louisiana. And then next Wednesday shows more in Texas there, close to 3 inches in some areas. Shows more in Louisiana, throughout the Gulf, and on the northwest there. Day 6, still more in Texas and Louisiana and Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. And day 7 for next Friday shows more along the Gulf there and on the north. So be aware. Day 1 through 7 shows a lot in the Gulf there and some in the northwest and northeast. But be careful in the Gulf with those heavier downpours. So let's see here. So these are some different models. The European, the next 5 days, it has in Louisiana about let's put this in inches here. So it has about 7 inches in some areas there, 6 to 7 inches, and most of these. So the next 2 days until Monday shows 5 inches, and there will be more along next week. So from Monday to Tuesday, some more, and then from Tuesday to Wednesday, already up to 7 inches. So be aware throughout this weekend and into early next week. And the European is really showing like Florida and Alabama 15 inches in the next 5 days. So this is just a model, it can change, but it's showing a lot. Close to 6 inches, 6.5 inches there in Alabama, into Georgia, somewhere North Carolina, and in Texas there. Let's put until the end here to see. So by the next 6-7 days, already shows some 5 inches in Texas and through eastern Texas there. But let's see the GFS now, just next 5 days. So just in the next 5 days, as I already shows like, it shows further east than the European. The European showing worse in western Louisiana, but it's showing like 5.5 inches in New Orleans. Southern Mississippi some 5 inches. So yeah, but the GFS is really hinting on Texas more. Showing like already some 9 inches on the Texas coast by Wednesday, some 4 inches all along the coast, 6 inches. So please be careful there. And if I put this later into next week, has this moisture climbing north by next Friday and then going like 10 inches throughout Texas and Louisiana later next week. So please stay safe there. And there's also the icon. It shows like next 6 days. It has more further north, like from Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, close to 6-7 inches there. But the icon showing more near the coast, but shows more in the ocean there. But like southeastern Louisiana shows close to like some 6 inches as well. So stay safe in those areas because of the rainfall and everything. And let's see here. The heat is still some extreme heat risk in the southwest, especially California and Arizona, even Nevada. So some moderate, even some areas of extreme heat risk today in the northwest there. So be aware. Southeast, just some majors in Florida there. And in the Florida Keys and Central Florida even show some areas of extreme. So be aware of the heat. Saturday, some more extreme heat risk in the southwest, even Los Angeles, so stay safe from the heat there. It'll be very hot. And then let's see, Sunday, more extreme in the southwest, in Southern California, some moderate in Florida, moderate in the north. Monday, more moderate heat risk in the north, and a big area of no heat risk there. Let's see, some major on the southwest in Florida. Tuesday, some more moderate in Florida in the northwest, kind of northern plains or something. Shows still some moderate heat risk in the southwest. Next Wednesday, some moderate heat risk in the plains in the southwest in Florida. Next Thursday, a similar thing. So be aware. And the temperatures today shows like 105 in California, 113, 105. Let's see, even 93 in Tennessee, some 90s in Florida, some 100s and 90s in the northwest. So stay safe. And these are the maximum temperatures, so like 60 or even high 50s there in the northern Great Lakes. So it's already much chillier there. And let's see, for example, day 2 minimum temperatures for tomorrow already shows like 40s in Michigan, 53, 41. So much colder across those areas. 42, 41 there because of that dip of cold air from Canada. So this mainly during the early morning and night, but the maximum temperatures tomorrow show like some 60s, 64. So yeah, and some 90s in Florida, in South Texas, in the plains, still 100s on the southwest there. So be aware. Day 3 shows more 90s in the plains, some 80s, some 90s in the northwest, even some 100s in the southwest, very close to the coast there in Los Angeles and some other populated areas. So be aware. So more 90s on the southeast, and let's see, and right back to 70s there in Michigan, and colder in the northeast. So let's see, day 4, Monday, shows more 90s across the plains, more 100s in California, in the southwest, Arizona, even Nevada and some 90s in Idaho and Utah. Let's see some 90s in Florida and some 80s, and hot across the plains in the south. Day 5, next Tuesday, shows some more 90s and 80s throughout the plains, some 80s on the Midwest already, more 80s in the south, in Florida, with 100s on the southwest, and some 90s there. So be aware. Day 6, next Wednesday, more 100s on the southwest, some 90s there, some 90s and 80s on the Midwest and the plains, more 90s on the southeast and some 80s in parts of Florida. Day 7, next Thursday, more 100 on the southwest, and already a little bit colder across the mountains of the west there. It shows like some 80s on the plains, 90s in the Midwest and on the southeast, so be aware there. And let's see here if there's something from this. Nothing. So the max winds for today potentially shows windier in Arizona, southern Arizona, parts of California, and especially near Texas there shows some gusty winds in some other areas. Today is Friday, September 6th, and then the warnings shows some flood watches in the south, flood warnings and heat advisories in southern Florida, even some frost advisories there in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. Be aware, and some heat warnings there in the southwest, heat advisories, more heat warnings in the northwest, red flag warnings there, and some air quality advisories there too. And they have some rip current and beach hazards along Lake Michigan, so be aware. And let's see, in Canada, in the prairies, it's quite fine today, nothing crazy. In the Pacific, in the northwestern territories too, but in Yukon there might be a storm or two, some rain, some wind, and British Columbia is quite fine. Quebec shows some minor storms possible in southern Quebec. Atlantic Canada is quite fine as well, but in Ontario we might have those stronger storms in southern Ontario there with some gusty winds. I'll show you the model in a second. So here's Western Canada, shows some showers and even some snow in the mountains there. In Yukon, parts of British Columbia and Alaska, more rain. And then let's see later, it shows the system forming in British Columbia and Alberta, some snow in the mountains there. This is Monday, and then the system keeps going there towards the northeast, and then in Nunavut, even some snow there in Nunavut, and then another system by the west there in like next Thursday, some more rain and snow, and then potentially going to central Canada later, some more snow in the mountains and more rain there, and then potentially even another system there by like the other Monday the 16th, so we will be watching that. Central Canada, let's see the European, shows that system there in Ontario going to Quebec, and then more showers, maybe a storm or two tomorrow near Hudson Bay, and later that system there. Then we'll have that other system by like Monday into Tuesday into Nunavut and northern Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Then it goes there. Wednesday there might be some storms in Ontario on Wednesday. Then it shows another small system Thursday there, Thursday into Friday, and we'll have some more stuff in the north later and more storms in the south possibly next Friday and Saturday, especially like next Sunday the 15th, a bigger system there. And let's see, in eastern Canada it shows that system today and those stronger storms in southern Ontario, because remember they had the marginal risk there in the U.S, so some severe storms or two might occur in southern Ontario too, so we will be watching for that. It shows more storms today there, some in Quebec, more rain there, and then we have that system into Nova Scotia there Saturday tomorrow, so some very heavy rain and gusty winds in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick by Saturday tomorrow, so be aware there, stay safe. Then this keeps going into eastern Quebec and Labrador by Sunday, so some heavy rain, gustier conditions there by Sunday, and then the other system keeps spinning Quebec and then shows the other system by Monday scraping in Newfoundland there, so be aware. Even shows that system lingering there and leaving some snow near northern Labrador and Quebec by next Tuesday, so be aware. And later we might have those storms on Wednesday and Thursday, then some other systems later, so be careful there. Let's see. The GFS has also this system going to Nova Scotia and then into Quebec and Labrador, so be aware that. And the GFS is still showing that snow there in Ontario and Quebec, so be aware. And let's see. Here, so this is the rainfall accumulation from the European, shows more in Quebec there, and shows a lot in Nova Scotia to some heavy rain, so be careful there. And then later near Newfoundland and in Quebec there, so be careful. And let's see. Some hazards here. This change all the time, but let's take a look. Here, wait, let's see. Here, so it's showing in Quebec those rainfall warnings there, especially on Sunday. So rainfall warning between 30 and 50 millimeters of rain is expected as the system approaches from the Great Lakes, and expected until late today. So be aware, some heavy rain in Quebec there, and in Alberta some air quality advisory, not Northwestern Territories air quality, and shows there in Saskatchewan some air quality, so be careful because of the fires. More air quality hazards in British Columbia and Nova Scotia, the rainfall warnings because of that system, and some special weather statements there, so be careful there. And let's see here. So some other rain accumulation like from the GFS shows there Nova Scotia around, why is this in inches, around some 2 inches there, but I think you use millimeters, so around some 61 millimeters there. Let's see, the European shows similar things, some 50 to 60 millimeters, so be careful there. To Newfoundland later and Labrador there, but it shows really more in Quebec, more than 79 millimeters, so be careful. And let's see here. And in terms of snow, it's showing more snow in northern Labrador and Newfoundland next 5 days, northern Quebec, so Newfoundland further south, that's Labrador. And it's showing, let's see, in the mountains of the west, some snow in Alaska and in the north there. And maybe a tiny hint in some parts of Colorado and Utah. So let's see first the wind better because of this system there. So the European has into Nova Scotia some winds about 70 to 80 km/h gusts on Saturday as this comes, so be careful. There might be some storm, some rip currents, some dangers there with the surf, especially on the coast of the U.S. too, might have some problems with the rip currents, and shows there in New Brunswick some 74 km/h gusts on those islands there. I think that's part of Nova Scotia, but let's see, further north into Nova Scotia shows like some 90 km/h gusts, and some gusty winds near Ontario as well. And then as this keeps going, some gusty winds near Newfoundland and in Quebec there, in eastern Quebec. And then this other system passes by Newfoundland on Monday and leaves potential almost to 70 km/h gusts, so be careful there Monday as well. And the temperatures still shows like today still like 30 degrees, 32 degrees in British Columbia, some 32 in Alberta, 27, so still hot there, be aware. And then it shows like the maximum temperature like 10 degrees, 13 degrees during the day, so be aware, much colder there. And then it shows like during the night it can get in Ontario like 4 degrees in some areas, and even near Hudson Bay, like 2 degrees. So be aware. Northern Quebec already colder, down to 0 degrees during the night, and Labrador. So be aware. And then tomorrow the high temperatures show like 31, 32 degrees in Saskatchewan and Alberta. So be aware. British Columbia still 31 degrees in some areas, and it's still coldish there in the east. And then let's see, Sunday still shows like 32 degrees, not the way to 33 degrees in Alberta, Saskatchewan. So be careful there. And let's see later, that cold moves further east and the heat moves slightly further west there. Like next Wednesday, I show some warmer temperatures in Ontario there and Quebec. So yeah, stay safe, be aware.